I've been spending a lot less time online, and the time I do spend on the web. Minecraft used to be a genuine cultural phenomenon. It's still big now, don't get me wrong, but in the early 2010s, everyone who knew somebody who was somebody with a zip on the creamer. After the release of Peakcraft, the movie, starring Thomas Jacob Black, I decided I would do my own. Stacks of diamonds, golden apples, and experience. Absolute gangster shit. On the other hand, there was another mega donor who was the complete inverse of that. We all knew this dude by name, and he was legitimately our nemesis. He raided us multiple times, blew up our shit, and was basically unkillable due to having Protection 40 Supreme Donor Diamond Armor complete mess. We were on this server for months back in 2014 with no end in sight. Every day on it was a new adventure, a new story to tell, a new thing to build. That wasn't one day, out of the blue. It no longer existed. It was just gone. We looked to see if it had changed names or if it was just after maintenance, and as we soon found out, it had simply shut its doors. It's been so long now that none of us can even remember why they closed. But after this, that was pretty much it for our time in Minecraft. The shutdown was such a massive blow to us that there was no next server, and we moved on to another adventure. It was over. After this, we moved on to more badass games like Payday 2. Back at the beginning, I mentioned our friend Joey. He was actually the one who recorded that clip I played from the server. Well, after the server went down and we moved on, so did Joey. That was our last big excursion with him. It went from this, where we played every day, to never playing anything, basically overnight. Once we entered high school, just a short while later, he stopped showing up, and we never really saw him again. We just sort of drifted apart. We still see posts from him every now and then, though, and he seems to be doing alright. I still think sometimes of just how impactful one single Minecraft server can be. It held a friend group together like super glue, created countless memories, and upon shutting down, in a weird way, it created a butterfly effect that helped lead me to where I am today, at least in some measure. After quitting, we branched out into new games, new communities, met new people and friends, lost one of our good ones, and all of that is, at least partially, because of one single Minecraft server.
That's it, one burp each. And here was the twist.
That was...
If you didn't want to burp, or if you didn't have to burp, you could give your burp away to one of your siblings, so you could burp twice.
listening to bro.
That's fair. That's fair. That's right. So every Friday, this is what happened. And you had to burp during your meal. Because once that last bite of pizza was...
While pretty much any and all servers I played on as a kid are long gone now, thousands, possibly tens of thousands of servers were available before even when I started playing. One of the most interesting aspects of Minecraft is that even the most obscure, weird, random-ass 2011 survival server might still have 2 or 3 people chilling at any time. There's really not many games like that. Maybe Roblox and a handful of others. Now, while the servers I used are gone, there still exist many classic servers from that era which have equally interesting stories. For this section, we'll be taking a bit of a deep dive into a couple servers I found. One creative, one survival. We'll be looking at their maps, their histories, and more.
Oh, she looks insane. Look at my hair, bro. Let's go. We are ready to go. Bro, Mario abuses Yoshi.
The first one we'll be checking out is server. It's called Snydersoul, and it's been around since 2012, just a few years after the game launched. Now, I pretty much always love looking at old creative maps. They give a pretty good insight into trends in pop culture at the time. They're sort of like constantly expanding time capsules. This one starts you off in a room full of people important to the server, and right in the middle, one of their regulars left a message to me. If anyone does come here to read this, I just want you to know, the last several years of being in the server have given me a lot of joy, friendships, and memories I would not have traded for the world. To Pat, Jack, Redman, Lily, Jory, Zig, Sierra, and all the others. Thank you for everything. I love you guys. Vita. The sentiment is shared amongst most of us. Synchrony. Right outside of this is a grave for the server itself. I think this is to remember their survival and skyblock servers, which were turned off years ago. I read that at one point they were planning to take down everything, including this, but some kind of agreement was reached, and they kept out the creative as a compromise. Their other servers were turned off, but those are long gone. The actual creative zone is pretty interesting. It's got some massive and finely crafted buildings and art pieces. You can definitely tell it's from the early 2010s, though, due to the abundance of My Little Pony, Adventure Time, and Troll Face pixel art. Although it does have a pretty distinct lack of epic face. Petorique. SpongeBob. I didn't stick around for too long on this one. It wasn't a huge server, so the plots became pretty empty pretty early on. I did, however, check out their website. We're bringing back a true classic segment for this video called Looking at Old Websites, Chat Rooms, and Reddits for Interesting Things, or Laucrarfit for short. One of the first things here was a post by the owner, and from that I saw that he hasn't been online in around 2 years. I understand staff going MIA, but owners just disappearing is always strange to me. Also on their forums was a video tab. A good 90% of them are private or remote, but there were a few interesting finds here. It's mostly children doing Let's Plays of the server in like 2014.
I haven't named this yet, but looking around the snare soul is one of the most signature games.
There was also someone who dug up their old Minecraft parody song, which was about the server.
Get out the way!
That's enough of that. Their Planet Minecraft page also has some links to projects that were built on the server, and there's some pretty cool stuff up on there. By far the most interesting thing on the site was a map archive of one they used from 2012 to 2013. This file is older than most Minecraft players. I think you can guess that I pretty much instantly downloaded that and fired it up. I think I may have accidentally stumbled across an incredibly important piece of Minecraft history on this. It was a film set where a group was planning to recreate the Gangnam Style music video in Minecraft. They had a similar side area to do a Harlem Shake video as well. Tragically, I couldn't find either of these online, and trust me, I looked. Since it was a personal download, I had free reign to look at any diaries I came across. I uncovered some deep, dark secrets, such as this one here. I'm feeling much better, like a boost has gone through me. I fall like I could rule the world. My testosterone also boosted, wink wink. Do you believe at Herobrine? And remember, he always watching you go in, I do. Down here quick, or else Herobrine will get you. Fuck. You little scumbag. You motherfucker. There was also a friggin' weird thing where people kept calling gold stuff butter for some reason. I mean, just what the heck is that about? Who would say such an absurd thing? There's some other mildly interesting things, but mostly basic builds. A lot of big bases, old memes, giant avatars, and stuff like that you've likely seen before. It is cool to know that all of this was 100% made over 12 years ago. The second one we're looking at is called Noobstown, and it's a bit bigger compared to Snydersoul. It's been around since 2011, and usually has a couple people hanging out. Initially, I thought this would be a pretty quick wrap-up, as nothing was here, but it turns out it was just a really wide protected area around the spawn. I knew I was in for a treat once I found Fred's Rare Wares. The experience on this one was pretty unique compared to most other survival servers. It was the first server I've ever seen to require players to purchase land they want to use for any reason. No digging up dirt, chopping down trees, or even mowing lawns until you call your real estate agent. Every single person on here has their purchased areas marked off with matching stone slab outlines. It's definitely something. As the name implies, this server is trying to be a place for new players. It wasn't a PvP faction raiding type survival, but one where people could claim some plots and just build things freely without having to worry about getting nuked. A town for noobs, you could would say. There were some cool builds here too. I was just walking around and found a big ancient Egypt looking structure. It also had a dispenser full of cooked fish by the door, free for anyone to use. What a gamer. I took several $1,000s of bluefin tuna and moved on. The server also had an add-on called Townie, which basically lets a bunch of players start up little cities that they can then open up to the public. I checked out a few of these, and they were pretty cool. The first one I tried was called Ice Haven. This one instantly gets some points for having a note block solid play whenever you teleport to it. There was no limits for this, and I overlapped it about 40 times. It was hell. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. The next town, Gallifrey, was Doctor Who themed, and also apparently had a population of over 100 people. It was just kind of a normal town with a giant TARDIS in the center. The double take I did gave me whiplash when I was watching some old videos about the server, and one was a couple guys doing a podcast in this town back in 2014.
We run a town. It's a great town. Did you know that? Yeah. Are you aware? Somewhat. It's a fictional town. Oh, I knew it was fictional. It takes place on Minecraft. I love Minecraft. More importantly, noobstown.com.
Seeing that was like time traveling back a decade. It was freaky. The actual official channel of Noobstown has a ridiculous amount of trailers and clips from the server as well. You can basically piece together the entire server's history from the stuff they've posted. I kind of love old school Minecraft cinematic trailers. They've always got real slow painting, kino shots, and epic captions about becoming a legend, all while the footage itself is 480p Minecraft gameplay with like 90p. The most important thing I found, by far, was the server's official, original theme song they had made. This song was made almost 12 years ago, but the lyrics about everything still being there, waiting for anyone who comes back, are true. Everything is still there, exactly as it was. It's kind of crazy. Now, I've got a bit of a big shocking revelation here, being that the two servers we looked at today were basically just the first ones I found. I didn't sift through 50 pages of servers looking for prime content. I just found a couple and jumped right in. Even that, these random-ass servers both held deep, long histories. Countless forum posts, hundreds of videos, and thousands of former players. I really only scratched the surface of what's available on them. It's honestly hard to comprehend just how much Minecraft stuff there is online. It would take weeks, if not months, to fully go over the maps, forum posts, and videos from even a handful of servers.
Tôi chứng kiến hàng ngàn bệnh nhân đau nhức xương khớp phải sống vì thuốc tây, chỉ kiểm soát chứ không chữa tận gốc. Nhưng hôm nay tôi cam kết dùng là 100% hiệu quả trong 3 tháng. Điều đặc biệt là không cần dùng thuốc tây. Đây là phương pháp chữa khỏi đau nhức xương khớp. Đã dùng là khỏi, mà khỏi là khỏi lên tới 10 năm không tái phát. Thật ra trước giờ tôi không quảng cáo hay bán thuốc, nhưng mà dòng thảo dược này thật sự hiệu quả bạn.
The beginning mentioned that the fellas and I mainly played Legendary Wars. Well, we also dabbled in minigame servers from time to time. Here's a video from 2013. My friend recorded on his iPod Touch of us playing Minecraft Hunger Games. What a throwback. Let's take a look at how some of these modes are doing today. Survival Games is probably one of the biggest modes to ever hit Minecraft. It was based off the Hunger Games, which was peaking around the same time as Minecraft, leading to this mode's massive popularity. I don't know how many other people this goes for, but they had us reading the Hunger Games in school. That's how big it was. I gotta say though, it was pretty cool to play what basically is just the Hunger Games, but in Minecraft. I remember when this originally launched, and most of the games didn't even have a persistent lobby. You just join into a server through a weird IP like MinecraftHungerGamesFree.com, played a match, and when you died, you got booted out of it completely. Gameplay-wise, this shit was the original Fortnite. It's a battle royale where anywhere from like 10 to 30 people have to gather loot and murder the opposition in some pretty sprawling maps, which have a glass dome that is constantly shrinking. We absolutely ate this shit up. It was like crack to 12-year-olds. I've looked at this map previously on the channel, and there's not much else I have to add. It's the original survival games map, though, and I've got to mention it here. If you played this mode back when it was big, chances are you know this map. I did find one thing of note, that being that the creator of this map tried to, or did, sell it as an NFT a few years ago. How does that even work? I thought Survival Games 2 was lost, but luckily I managed to find it. I've got a ton of nostalgia for this one, but never got to play it that much. It's a big post-apocalyptic city map with all kinds of overgrown skyscrapers, government buildings, banks, and apartments. Compared to the relatively bland forest of the original map, this was a massive leap. I really love the visuals, but as sick as this one is, I can also absolutely see why it wasn't played very much. It's way too cluttered, too vertical, and too big. The first one was just a funny forest island with the occasional secret cave. This one has multiple 5 to 10 story buildings to climb and a shitload of vines to get on top of skyscrapers too. Still really cool. Probably terrible to play, but cool. Breeze Island was a pretty small map for servers with less players. It was all one tiny desert island with a handful of POIs out in the ocean. It's basically the polar opposite of the last map. This one is so small that you can see the entire playable area from a vantage point, and most of that is just water. Still a fun map though, and I definitely remember playing matches on it. I tried out a handful of servers that had the mode, or said they had the mode, but not a single person was playing it. Some servers also seem to have straight up retired and removed it. Eventually, I came across the IP to a server which I think is one of the classic, if not the classic survival game servers from back in 2012, called the MC Gamer Network. I wouldn't be surprised if I played this before. I plopped the IP into my game, but it didn't work. Double checking on the website, I noticed a banner at the top saying that the servers are offline and that the page remains up, basically just for memories and forum posts, with a warning that at any time the website could go down. I checked the news tab to see if there was more info about this, but their final post there is one saying that they were happy to see the server doing well and hope to keep up the momentum in 2020. I think the server shut down like literally a month later. There's a comment in here from an ex-mod saying that they're glad to see the server still doing well, and someone replied basically saying, "The server's shutting down like right now, dude. LMAO, what are you talking about, bro?" Back in its prime, though, this seemed to be a pretty big community. It's time for a good old-fashioned loud roar fit. Their website has a few links to their official YouTube channel, which has a bunch of 2D animations, mostly about the server. It's pretty neat. The first one I found was a guide on how to play survival games, which was fully animated. They didn't have to do that, but they did. Cool. I think I'm past the view 16-year-old me had of, oh, ew. Minecraft animation? Get that shit out of my face. And I can just appreciate the work that went into this. I guess the server was also big enough to have their own dedicated Reddit page. There's nothing too crazy on it, except for the full iceberg chart made about the server. I'll cover this right after I finish the Disturbing Games iceberg. Wrapping back to the forums on the site, the guy that made Breeze Island was just casually chilling right around when the shutdown was happening. There was also some veteran players not casually chilling, but rather telling full stories of their time on the server, going over their time from the early 2010s until it shut down, talking about friends they made and how it impacted them personally. There's some really heartfelt and sincere stories in here for what was essentially just a minigame server. Now, while survival games probably still has a community or two out there, the days of this being a massive thing are far in the past at this point. It kind of sucks to see because this was one of my go-to modes as a kid, and it looks like now it's pretty much abandoned. Cops and Robbers. I have zero actual server experience with this one, but I have played it briefly. One of our acquaintances was addicted to tuber videos on this mode and really wanted us to try. He basically forced everyone to hop on his shoddy Hamachi server, and it was the worst, most scuffed experience of all time. It took like an hour to set up. We were all lagging. People were cheating, and it turns out we were not as comedic, haha funny as the tubers we watched play it. We did not touch it again. I found the original map for it that blew up back then. It's really oddly specific, but it only really fully clicked that this was the map when I saw this staircase here. It's burned into my mind because we just damage boosted up it and skipped like half the map. It's a pretty simple map, all things considered. It's kind of crazy how big it got. I can't imagine playing this on a public server with just text chat and most of the players being choked. It gives me a headache just thinking about it.
Turn your football
insights into trades with event contracts on Robinhood. Buy positions on pro and college football games all season long across the U.S. Market prices can change every key moment, so you can adjust your positions while the game is happening. Plus, with Robinhood, you can access event contracts, stocks, crypto, options, and more, all in one app. Download Robinhood and get started.
We're going to wrap up the minigame section by having a look at a real classic called The Walls. I wasn't even sure this mode existed. I thought I made it up because I misremembered the name as being Foursquare. I even drew it in MS Paint just so I wouldn't forget what it looked like. Turns out, I am not crazy, and it was actually pretty popular too. The mode has 4 teams, divided by, you guessed it, some big old walls on the center of the map. The teams have to race against the clock to gather supplies, weapons, and build fortifications, as once the timer reaches 0, the walls fall, and it's a PvP deathmatch. Pretty cool idea for a mode. I remember playing this near release, and teams were always packed. Each quadrant had like 10 people gathering shit and building little forts. It was a lot of fun. I guess someone on the Minecraft marketplace agrees, since the mode has basically been yoinked and sold on there. No idea if this has permission? Probably not. I misremembered the gameplay as well. I thought each team had a unique biome they started in, but here there's 4 of the exact same thing in each square. Other than that though, it's exactly as I pictured it. I looked for the Walls servers, but didn't really find them until I put together that this map was made by Hypixel, and that's like one of the biggest Minecraft servers, so I had to look for it there. Out of 35,000 people that were on at the time, a solid 0 of them were playing the Walls. I waited in the lobby for a bit, even though it was kind of pointless since this needs 8 players at the minimum to start up. My buddy Henry joined for a few minutes, shout out to Henry, and then left. I waited out the full lobby time just to see if anyone would join, but it seemed like nobody was going to show. If there was anywhere that I could have played the Walls, this would have been it. I lost hope pretty quickly. Every now and then, one person would join and then leave shortly after, but I stuck around, and eventually, they didn't leave. There were 2, then 3, then 5, then 7, and then finally, we had enough to go. You indeed heard that correctly. I got into a The Walls match in 2025. I have no idea if that's actually impressive, but it was to me. I got right to work on gathering some supplies, and managed to get myself a full iron loadout with time to spare. Once the walls dropped, I booked it straight for the center, forgot you can't just spam attack in PvP anymore, and died instantly in my first encounter. I, as can be put together by now, if you've watched my videos, was a dumb little shit. Due to this lack of brain functionality, I thought installing mods was black magic techno-wizardry. This was until one fateful day where I was at some random kid's house who I didn't know, haven't seen since. I don't even know why I was there, and he showed me how mods are installed. Also during that night, I got my face smashed with a Wiimote, and it legit messed up my teeth. Those are the only 2 memories I have of that day. I don't even know that kid's name. The Aether is one of those mods where you just go, how have they not just added this to the real game? It first started as a rumor after the Nether was added, being an opposite realm of sky islands you could reach by creating a glowstone portal. After that, a handful of mods to bring these rumors to life sprung out. The one we're looking at here is genuinely iconic, one of the most popular Minecraft mods of all time. The dude behind it was even hired to work at Mojang. That's how big this is. Now I'll be honest here and say that despite its popularity, I don't have a ton of experience with it. By that, I mean, I think I played this like once. It definitely left an impact though, and it's too iconic not to discuss. Actually getting into the mod itself, it's quite a sight. There's quests to do, lore to find, and a wide variety of new mobs. I'm pretty sure this is an updated version of the mod, not whatever the base version was back in like 2012. But again, I only played that like once, so I couldn't list out the differences anyways. You can definitely tell that this is a mod from the early 2010s though, as its custom music kits play some pretty slick dubstep beats. Overall, it's a pretty good mod to add onto a save if you just want a little bit more to do in the endgame. It really feels like it's part of the base experience. We've got another iconic Minecraft marketplace moment with this one, as a few years back, an Aether Dimension add-on was released for like $10. It had 0 permission from the original creator, so they simply changed it from Aether Dimension to Ether Dimension. Epic. That's all they changed. One of the most interesting parts of the Aether is the myths and legends behind it. I went down a bit of a rabbit hole looking for the origin point of Aether rumors, because I don't think that it's documented, like, anywhere, really. I found a few threads on the Minecraft forums from the late 2010s, just after the Nether was added, which discussed the idea of the Aether. This obviously isn't the only discussion forum for Minecraft, but this isn't like a super duper deep dive. I found a few posts from November of 2010 talking specifically about the idea of the Aether. They both list a lot of the things that would later make it into the mod, such as a glowstone portal, some of the mobs, and other general ideas. The earliest post I could find was from the day after the Nether update released, suggesting a floating island realm called the Aether. I guess this guy got his wish. I also saw that in December of 2010, just a few months after the Nether released, a channel called Pixel Kids released a teaser trailer for an Aether mod. To my knowledge, this is the first attempt at one, even if it was never released, which is pretty neat. Tekken. This right here is essentially Minecraft for people with engineering doctorates. I always tried to get into Tekken and other mod packs like it as a kid, thinking I could just breeze through them without a guide. I thought I would just hop on and be some kind of savant. Not once did this ever end up happening. I tried out Tekken Classic for this, and I knew I was in for a rough time when it started me off with a 546-page book full of recipes and guides. I think this is also just for one of the many mods included in this mod pack. Again, you need a goddamn PhD to play this. The mod pack itself, jokes aside, is an industrialized version of Minecraft. You can set up factories, make cool stuff like power drills, jetpacks, nuclear reactors, and overall become quite the mad scientist. I set myself up a nice little $90 billion dark matter generator, which powers my floor TV that will play fail army clips for 7 hours a day. The one major flaw Tekken has, along with pretty much every other mod pack, but especially these tech ones, is that a ton of items overlap, and a lot of things that seem compatible with one another just aren't, due to being from different base mods. That's all I really have to say about Tekken, though. Again, I was never really smart or patient enough to learn it, so there's no crazy, wacky stories to tell with it. Next.
Get out of the way! Guys, One State RP is a world where you can choose your own path. You can be anyone, from a simple resident living a quiet life to a true superstar around whom the whole city revolves. Every action you take can lead to fame, fortune, and respect.
Hexit is about as complex as Tekken, but with a fantasy theme rather than scientific. I've actually played this one a decent bit, too, since the goal for most of it is just to kill shit and get loot. It's been quite a while, though, and going into it, I wasn't even 100% sure that I was thinking of the right mod pack. That was until I saw the Towers of Power that were just spammed across the map. I definitely remember climbing and facing the big Cyclops boss on top of these, which then nukes the whole tower, and you gotta make a quick exit. It's pretty cool. The thing about Hexit is that there genuinely might be too much shit. Every 10 feet there's a new building, mob, or biome, and for gear there is literally pages upon pages upon pages of different swords, spears, and guns and shit. It basically turns the game into Terraria with the amount of items there are. And if you're playing something like Texit, which combines Tekken and Hexit, that list gets substantially bigger. I guess I didn't play this for super long, because I had no idea that there's a bunch of other realms you can visit. The Aether mod might have an inverse Nether, but does it have Candyland? Didn't think so. And that's one of like 30 different realms to visit. Candyland! Let's go! I love Candyland! If I were to comprehensively cover every little bit of this mod pack, we would genuinely be here for like 8 hours. So, let's move on. I love Candyland! I never want to leave! Volts is a mod pack which is kind of like Tekken, but focused more on weapons and warfare. Rather than a nice production line to refine jewels and gems, you can make antimatter ICBMs. The version I'm playing here is called AMPS, which is just a more modern version of it. Unlike Tekken, you don't actually have to be smart to enjoy this one. You can hop in creative and just blow stuff up. There is some science stuff you can do, like setting up nuclear reactors, but by now you know I did not do that. I decided I would spice things up a little and tried out their pre-installed official server that they have running. If you can imagine, 0 people were on it. Doing this was one of the most surreal experiences I've ever had in Minecraft. Despite being a tech mod, the server had a pretty bare-bones spawn area and just lets you wander off into the woods. The first thing I noticed here is that the sound design is sick. It's going for realism, and it adds a lot to the atmosphere. Things were pretty barren outside of the spawn for a while. The map was basically untouched. Eventually I came across some subtle signs of human life. A crafting table was placed in the wild, and later I stumbled upon a small outpost. I took a few basic supplies and continued on. Just as a reminder, this was supposed to be a science-heavy, war-themed mod pack, and all I've seen so far are specks of evidence that human life once existed here. After more exploration, I came across the likely culprit of the desolation. A thermonuclear bomb had turned this area into a deserted wasteland. I stood atop the edge of the massive crater, staring down into the eyes of hell itself. Pixelmon. Now this is a huge one. I've got a lot to say about Pixelmon. We're gonna swap over from modded gameplay to that classic vanille experience. This time I felt like having a look back at my earliest points playing Minecraft. Now I don't exactly remember when I was introduced to it. It may have been playing Xbox 360 edition at a neighbor's house, or through Pocket Edition Lite, or something else. I only really remember the tutorial world with the big Minecraft logo on 360, and that Pocket Edition used to be super bare bones, like barely even a game. Either way, I very soon after forced my parents to purchase it for me on PC, like the good little consumer zoomer I am. I think it was around when Jungles were released. I do like the simplicity of older Minecraft quite a bit. It's gained a sort of mystique about it in recent years, which I find kind of odd because it's not that different. People saying that it's objectively better, which I'm not here to argue for or against. There's also been an uptick in posts and shit about Minecraft like secretly being a horror game, and all I can think about when I hear that is the SpongeBob roller coaster bit. Like, come on guys, I'm not trying to sound like a tough guy who ain't afraid of nothing, but seriously? I played a fair amount of regular single-player survival back then, and by fair amount, I mean so much that I am still burnt out on it to this day. I haven't touched base survival a single time since 2013. I wish I still had the world because it was pretty cool. I had a big jungle base with connecting tree forts and a big quarry in the middle. I'm a big fan of deforestation and displacing local wildlife. After my little survival run, the fellas and I began our multiplayer adventures, and we all know how that ended. YouTubers. What's up with these guys? It would be kind of crazy to just act like these weren't a massive part of Minecraft's success. With that said, I won't be naming any one specific here, simply because I don't want a flood of comments of people saying like, bro forgot Minecraft Joe 99, skull emoji. I also just don't remember most of them by name. One of the most interesting parts about Minecraft is how such a simple game can create such an incredibly wide variety of content. There were people that made millions of dollars by screaming, incredible builders and redstone creators, chill dudes just playing survival, mod creators, mod reviewers, animators, and many more types of videos on top of all of that. Every single one of these people owe their lives to the GOAT, Kevin MacLeod. I think it's probably safe to say that Minecraft has like the most videos on it out of any game ever made. I would be remiss not to mention the insane amount of Minecraft parody songs. We had a kid sing one of these at a talent show one year. I'm not going to bash the songs, nor am I going to say, oh my god, these are such bangers. Or you're asking, is he being ironic? Is he not? I'm simply indifferent to them. But I know they take a lot of time and effort to write, record, and produce, and I respect that. I'd be willing to put money on a handful of these being bigger than the original songs, or at least comparable. Now, I'll be candid, okay? I'll be honest, full transparency. You know me, the Mr. Transparent. 10-year-old me may have purchased a couple of these off iTunes in 2012 for $1.99 each. Speaking of child me, though, I had to look back at a handful of creators I used to watch. No absolutely massive ones, just some of the more underground tubers. Every single one that I checked had either vanished, retired, or in a few cases, straight up deleted most or all of their videos. It's their stuff, so completely their choice to like delete it. They don't owe anyone anything, but man, it was kind of a bummer. It was another reminder that just like some of these servers, some of these forums and websites, nothing online is guaranteed to be there when you get back. The overall message to take away from this video is to enjoy the things you have while they're still here. On the internet, games, and life in general. There is a near endless amount of things online you will never see. Stories of people, friendship, humanity. And all of it means something to someone. And sometimes means quite a lot. Memories of anger, joy, and sorrow. While this video is about Minecraft, the message applies universally to all online spaces. In time, possibly soon, possibly after many years, these websites, forums, and servers will be seen a final time before they're shut off. This is the plight of the digital age. Once it's on the internet, it is not there forever. Fortress 2 has a lot of weird, empty servers. I don't want to waste any time, so let's get right into this. It was 1 a.m., and I was just kind of mindlessly scrolling through the server browser, looking for cool stuff. A server, simply named Null, caught my attention, which had no tags, 0 players, and was running a map called BX7. I logged in and was met with this: an empty platform surrounded by complete darkness with a single pillar of light in the center and a massive camera in full view, just out of reach. I had no clue what was going on here, and it got even freakier once the warm-up ended and this message was sent out to me. Your media is being recorded. Please view it later. I looked around for a bit to see if this was maybe the start of something bigger, even swapping to spectator mode so I could just no-clip around the map, but didn't manage to find anything else. While I was looking, I also noticed that I wasn't alone, as there was a spectator in here named BX7, despite the server saying no one else was here. I tried reaching him in chat, but didn't get a response. It was maybe just a bot? I don't know. I was getting some sick-as-hell angles of the map in spectator view, when suddenly, the server entirely shut down. Including being completely wiped from the server browser. Not a single trace of it remained. Everything here added up to me feeling like I was in one of those TF2 ARGs with like evil servers and Shadowmen and stuff, which unironically not as a bit. I might have been. Now if this is an ARG, get ready for some 3-hour-long videos on it. Being realistic here, this is probably just a test map or something, but like, come on. It'd be way cooler if it was something more than that. I found this one after the last video, and already discussed it in a bonus video, but this is too good to not bring up again. I saw a map running named PL Ideas, which I'd never heard of before, on a server named Bob is Zach's server. It said there were 0 players, 14 bots, and I figured, why not check this out? Once I got in, and it just seemed to be a normal-looking payload map with dev textured walls everywhere, I pretty quickly lost interest in was just going to take it. But I noticed that 2 people were in here, including Bob is Zach himself. After a bit of killing, they told me it was a map they were actively developing and wanted my opinions on it. So I played around with them. How often do you get this opportunity? Partway through the match, they even asked if I wanted to hop on call with them, which I sort of stranger dangered my way out of. I kind of regret that because it might have been funny, but at the same time, don't go adding random strangers on Discord. I was also way too busy going absolutely fucking nutty in game, just styling on these bots. My team finished the round absolutely crushing the other guys, and I gave my professional feedback. When this is added to TF2, I better be credited as a co-creator, or I'm gonna go ape. I saw a strange-looking server running a map named Norilsk Nickel in the browser. It had 1 person in it, and I am positive it was of Russian origin. Pretty much every file it downloaded had a slur attached to it, so that's something. Also just a bunch of really weird-sounding shit. Once I was in, I was kind of confused because it just seemed to be a small block of apartments with a few shops next to them. Nothing crazy or outlandish or anything, at least from what I could tell. Granted, there seemed to be a lot of Russian references to shit I have pretty much no way of knowing. So, for all I know, this could be heinous, vile, infamous shit, or like Russian YouTubers or something. I don't know. At the very least, the map was pretty atmospheric outside. I liked the look of it. The buildings all had interiors, so I went to check some of them out. This psychiatric hospital had a bunch of traumatized-looking TF2 mercs inside, but I couldn't get farther than the lobby. Next up, I went to touch Nico one-shot in the back of a liquor store, which sent me straight to jail. The apartment buildings also had a bunch of fully decorated rooms, which were not what I was expecting with the file names the server downloaded. Like, there was a furry room where I was fully expecting some kind of devious trick, like, haha, you idiot, you touched a furry, you freak. It was just, I don't know, just kind of normal, I guess. There was no twist. Oh God. This is, now get me out of this one. Jesus Christ. Later on, I saw it had around 8 people on it, so I don't know what the deal is with it. It was called Facty13, and sorting the server browser alphabetically, I guess Facty13 has a bunch of servers like this. I looked into a few of these, and they're all pretty similar to Norilsk Nickel, being small city areas with Russian memes in them. Just more the same, really. With that said, I could only join like 3 of them, so maybe the others have bigger differences. I really doubt it. I did manage to have a conversation with a Russian player who joined one of these through the use of my phone's translator app. It says, "Hello, where are you? Skibbity toilet." What? That's about all I have to say on these, though. I'm clearly missing most of the context, culture, and obviously the language to be able to properly go over them. Even on a Russian YouTube, I found a full 10-minute video describing what the hell these servers are. So, they are as confused as I am. If you want more video content about video games and related topics, you should go to the link patreon.com/redline and assess what is there. Yes, I think you should. I really don't know why there are 2 different Walmart-themed maps running 24/7 in TF2. This one said it had 2 people in it, but I guess they'd already finished getting groceries by the time I got in, as they were nowhere to be found. There wasn't much in the main area surrounding the Walmart. A few stores, empty buildings, and a strange structure in the middle of the parking lot. I found the entrance to said strange structure, and inside of it, I ended up making my way into the secret underground tunnels beneath Walmart. This was seriously a really cool addition. For any non-North American viewers, these are actually like a real thing that pretty much every Walmart has. I exited the tunnel into a sports bar, whacking the nearest jukebox to play some tunes. This place was pretty cool looking. I'd get some grub here. Exiting the bar, I realized that it was inside of the Walmart. Again, for any non-NA viewers, pretty much every Walmart actually has a big sports bar inside. It's a really cool thing. I wanted to save the actual Walmart for last, so I backed out into the parking lot and went into the library of best memes. As I was looking around, a mysterious individual joined the server. Hello, Mr. Crimson. He's fucking gone. He's gone. This one definitely seemed to be substantially bigger and more elaborate than the last Walmart map I played, except in regards to the Walmart itself, which was real bare bones. I don't even have anything to say. Come on, just look at this. It's carpeted, for fuck's sake. I went back through the tunnels and found a working train, which takes you to a whole other area with a big waterfall and some nice-looking buildings for literally no reason. One of these buildings just has a giant Cold War bunker inside of it, including a full-size nuclear missile silo. I have no idea why it's here, but it's pretty cool. I felt like I was definitely missing some stuff, so I quickly hopped into a private server so I could no-clip around. First off was a better look around the actual Walmart, and right off the bat, a good half of the building was dedicated to a Walmart prison. Again, for any non-NA viewers, pretty much every Walmart actually has a big prison inside. I found another freaky ARG map just one day after finding BX70. I swear to fucking God, I didn't set these up. This one came in 2 parts. The first map being named Hello, all caps. This place was a pure white void with a checkered floor and nothing but a lone door frame on the map. Trying to leave in any other direction simply has you fall off the platform and continually take damage until bleeding out. Going through the door frame, you're taken to the main location, a new map named Search. This was a massive doorway with a bunch of letters and symbols in front of it, surrounded by nothing but darkness. You can break the letters, which lists them out in the chat. It also says something in the console about breaking them to search for maps or something, but there's not enough letters to search for most normal TF2 maps. Once you break them, that letter is used up for good, and there's a character limit as well. Their map rotation page did have some odd ones, such as Hi, Dill, Die, and a few others. I tried CP Foundry, since it has entirely unique letters, which didn't work. Even trying once from when I simply did nothing, from what I can tell. Trying to leave this area by walking away also just brings you back to the hello menu, so there's no escape from this madness. I tried a good amount of text inputs on search, but not a single one resulted in the door opening. This is either an actual for real this time ARG, a weird test map that's unfinished, or an actual map search for TF2 maps that they just decided to make really ominous for no reason, which I was too stupid to figure out how to use. My money is on ARG. Always bet on ARG. I hate to say I came out empty-handed if this is an ARG, but I did. This is another one for the community to crack. I couldn't figure it out. We're gonna need some code breakers on this. The only thing I found that had any sort of effect was searching for help, which said that it was non-functional. No one is coming to help you. Like with BX70, I really do hope that this is something special and not just a weird test map, because it seems cool from what I've seen so far. Sky Space City. Now at first, I thought this was your average run-of-the-mill trade map where it's a small city with a couple Easter eggs or something. But this actually had a ton of secret areas, rooms, and puzzles. So many, in fact, that they felt the need to include a tracker on the map so you know how many are left to find. One of the first ones I found was some kind of like battlefield Easter egg, which I have no idea how I triggered, where fucking Godzilla popped up and started hopping around Sky Space City like a big playground. I looked around for a good while after that, and on top of the secrets, this map also just looks pretty good visually, at least in comparison to other trade maps. It also had a good amount of non-secret hangout spots where you can kick back and relax with some fellow trade server enthusiasts and do crazy things like trade. After finding a few other smaller Easter eggs, I kinda wanted to see everything this map had to offer. So I went into a private server, no clip around. I'm just going to list out some of the interesting shit I came across, because it would take way too long to summarize all of it. A strange trash room filled with cows, as well as an image of what I assume is the creator's dog. Secret sewers with a portal revealing the Eldritch Troop. Someone's OC. A secret Sans Undertale boss fight room where you must dodge bones to progress. A haunted manor with a hall of utterly terrifying jump scares. This also featured floating PNGs which killed you upon touching them. The Rick Ashley image even sends you to a Rickroll room. And finally, a developer thank you and credits room. That is just a handful of the areas and shit to see on this map. If you ever see it running in the server browser, give it a shot. According to the tracker, even with no clip, I found just over half of the Easter eggs. Now, if anyone manages to find all of them, I'll give you a secret gift. And trust me, you don't want to miss out on it.
Survive as long as possible, but be ready to die thousands of times. Incrementally, you'll improve as you test out different upgrade strategies and unlock permanent upgrades to your tower. It's so satisfying to watch the pleasing visuals and listen to the chill music as your tower shoots down waves of enemies.
One game mode I got recommended a bunch was parkour. I never actually played it, but I do remember it being pretty popular. Of course, it being popular back when I played meant that the only remaining parkour server was running a Minecraft map. This also just isn't a very interesting mode, if I'm being honest. It was kind of like Death Run and B-Hop mixed together. Not much more to it than that. The genius map designer behind this one decided that an invisible maze was a good idea to include in their timed parkour map. Awesome. I couldn't find the exit and rage quit. Now I figured there was no way this is what people were talking about, since the parkour I remember was more akin to Mirror's Edge. I went looking, and what I actually remembered was Parkour Fortress, which was actually a cool custom mode. And yeah, it basically was just Mirror's Edge, but in TF2, which is a pretty sick combo. It's a little jank, but at the same time, the fact that this works even half as well as it does in TF2 is kinda nuts. There's really not much I can do to hype this one up anymore than just showing you some gameplay. Check it out. Oh! 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 Oh my goodness! Right down the pipe, into the big pipe. Whoa! Whoa, Nelly! The king of speed. The master of disaster. I would have kept parkouring it up, but I'm either a fool who couldn't figure out how to return to checkpoints, which is likely, or the checkpoints actually just don't work. Every time I failed, I got sent all the way back to the start, which got very annoying very quick. Still, this is a really cool mode, and it's pretty sad to see that it's got a solid 1 server remaining and a solid 0 people in it. Apparently, the original Parkour Fortress from way back when is basically lost, as the developer for it abandoned the project. What I was playing here was actually a fan remake of it. It's pretty cool that something as obscure as this has gotten preserved through fan efforts. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to play this at all. Shout out to the remake developers. If you were curious as to why the original dev left TF2 behind, they were actually busy making their own indie game. A small, niche underground project you probably haven't heard of called A Hat in Time. This one was a pretty rarely seen TF2 roleplay server, as it's a hotel map called Gmod Tech Hotel V1. I can only assume the people would get together here and roleplay funny hotel shenanigans. The map even had lore, being an alternate reality Area 51, which had a nice big 5-star hotel built right on base. It was pretty detailed too, having everything you'd expect. A nice lobby with the Gmod Tech logo up on display, a kitchen with a full walk-in freezer, a bunch of rooms, including some nice big suites, and a ton of activities around the base. This could easily support 32 players role-playing on it at once, if not more. There was even a full nuclear bunker outside, on the off chance that someone enacts global thermonuclear war. It was fun to look around the place, but all I could think the whole time I was here was how cool it would be if this actually had people on it pretending to be like a bellhop as the heavy, or a scout chef serving gourmet meals to pyro guests. And instead of just thinking about that stuff, I got looking online. Some of these are on older versions of the map, and sure, they're pretty chaotic, but yeah, people did actually used to roleplay on this.
I'd like to reserve a room, please. For one.
One of these videos by Sirius Martin even has over 200,000 views, just messing around and showing funny moments in here, like a decade ago. Looks like it was a fun time. There was also a video by the creator of the map going over the secrets and Easter eggs, and holy shit, there are a lot. It took them almost 20 minutes to cover them all. Unfortunately, the other thing I found regarding this map is that the group behind it, Gmod Tech, shut down in 2018 after being active since 2008. I think the server here was simply running the map. It wasn't a revival of the group or anything. They went over the finer details in their video called The End of Gmod Tech. It looks like the server possibly had one final send-off with its remaining players, where they gathered on the hotel's rooftop and watched as a nuke was launched over the horizon. The final message in the video being, we had fun, we hope you did too. The server I found running the map does seem to run it 24/7, so if you want to check in and stay for a while, you totally can. With that said, I would do it sooner rather than later, as there's no guarantee this one won't meet a similar fate. Alright, another Pokemon server. Who's here? What the fuck?
Yo, a little help here? Who wants to throw?
Alright.
Hey, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Oh, crap.
I have to leave now. We're going to be doing a brand new segment with this one called the 2 a.m. Empty 18 Plus Furry Server Power Hour. I say segment, but this will be 2 maps. The first one was called Trade What, which I think is fairly popular and not attached to the server in any way. The second that I joined into it, someone else also just arrived, and they did nothing but stalk me around the map as as a strange, wolf-like engineer. They didn't say a single thing, not a peep, a howl, or even a bark. The map here was a pretty standard crack map, with this one being very China and Russia themed. And not your typical band kid humor like USSR type shit. I'm pretty sure like actual Russian memes in a few spots. I'm gonna be honest, I was only half paying attention to the map here, as I was mainly focusing on trying to get away from my in-game stalker. After simply running away didn't work, I had to resort to my final option. Man, this is like spending the weekend at Don Cheadle's house. Yep. A new challenger joined into the fun around this point, sprayed some naughty furry art on the wall, and left pretty much immediately after. I departed for a bit, and when I came back, the place was empty, and on a new map. WD War V2, brother. Hell yeah. I'm pretty certain that this map was actually made for this server, so it's pretty unique in that sense. It's another entry in the genre of big map filled with a bunch of memes, art, and screenshots of shit the creator likes. This one had Stalker, Far Cry, Yakuza, a bunch of furry stuff, and a fair amount of shit I just don't get. Someone else joined in, and I flipped the script as this time I was the stalker. I followed them around the map, and they just didn't seem to care, really. I tried sparking a deep conversation here, to which they replied with the cheers voice command and kept moving. I don't really have much else to say about this one. Again, it's sort of Mario Kart or Ethosaur styled, where it's just a bunch of references and small side areas. This one did have a secret room like 100 meters below ground, which was textured top to bottom with furry feet art. Pause. I don't know. You'll have to judge for yourself, as I'm not going to show it here. My overall takeaway from this brand new segment is that furry servers have some pretty wacky maps that seem like they're probably a fun time when there's actually people on. I don't think this one is actually dead, as I saw with some decent player counts at other points, but it's fairly empty late at night. This new segment is now concluded, and we won't be doing it ever again.
Hey there, real quick. Has your iPhone been yelling at you that it's been out of space for months now? Maybe it's just
For this one, we're going to delve into the awful, totally screwed up, nasty, devious, mischievous world of servers with anti-cheat disabled. We're going to see some fucked up, rotten shit. You have been warned. This server was called 24/7 Harble Hotel and was running a map called Harble Hotel. I got into this one solo, and within under a minute, another guy joined in. As this was a server with no anti-cheat, I was a little worried that my entire cyber network was about to get breached at any second. Thankfully, such a thing didn't happen, and I was able to explore to my heart's content. It was a Habbo Hotel themed map, but was also very mid to late 2000s internet with a major 4chan focus. Just a ton of old ass memes in here, too many to count. It wasn't really set up like a hotel, but was just a big tower with unique shit on every floor. After a while, a different guy joined in and was a lot less freaky, saying that they loved the map and how it looked. It had a bunch of elements which were super reminiscent of classic Mario Kart maps, such as the 4chan party van, and after doing some research, this was actually made by the same guy back in 2007. It was originally a Counter-Strike source map before being ported to TF2. Now this might be a well-known thing, but I guess 4chan party van was actually an old group, or clan or something, which had some servers. I think they might even still be around. I don't know. I found a video from 2010 where a guy gave a tour of the hotel to a few people, and they all had to collectively ignore and aim their cameras away from a few select naughty images the whole time. So just quick editing note here, quick editing note, because I'm an idiot, because I'm a fool. This video is actually by the creator of the map, Xenon. I don't know how I missed that. It's in the first, 5 seconds of the video. Just thought it's worth mentioning. There's not much more to say about this one, though. It's basically a precursor to Mario Kart maps, and it functions as a time capsule of 2000's 4chan type humor. It's neat to look through, but I can see why I've never heard of it before.
The manner of mischief. Very famous flavor.
I actually had no clue what this was, but it had a funny sounding name, so I joined it. Someone else was already in here, and they greeted me upon arrival and asked if we'd met before. I had no idea who this was, and said no. They then replied that it was their first time seeing the map running on the server, and that there were sexy slime girls everywhere. I then instantly knew who this map was by and what it was going to be. We've got another Ethosaur map. It's very similar to their other maps, having framed memes, references, and slime girls all around the map. But this one was in a big spooky haunted house, which had some pretty cool non-joke designs inside. It got pretty creative. Trippy, twisting hallways, illogical architecture, upside-down rooms, and a ridiculously long SCP-087-like scary staircase, which, if you couldn't guess, had an evil and fucked up slime girl at the bottom of it. This one had an even bigger emphasis on the slime girls, with these ones having dialogue when you walk up to them. The best one had to be the slime girl, with toxic sludge all around her, telling you to come towards her, and that nothing bad will happen. And then, of course, you walk towards her, and you instantly get irradiated and start dying. And the health pack next to her is an epic troll. Me and the other guy in here were doing a tag team dynamic duo sweep of the entire map to find secrets and Easter eggs. But after like 20 minutes of not finding much, I had had enough. If you want to see everything that the Manor of Mischief has to offer, you're gonna have to creep through it yourself. We're going international with this one, looking at a Hong Kong server. That fact has essentially zero impact on anything. Let's check it out. Two fellas were in here when I joined in, who had been duking it out for who knows how long, and they never stopped. It didn't matter where I was or what I was doing. Anytime I looked over at them, they were fighting. A never-ending battle between snipers. The map here is a decently old one, being from 2014, and a pretty cool one, especially for an achievement idol map. It had a working tram, elevators, a cool cityscape skybox, and overall, looked pretty nice. The main building in the middle of the city was the real highlight. You can take the elevator up to the penthouse, and it was filled with a bunch of shit. It's mostly references to things the various creators liked, as well as some general memes from the era, both TF2 related and not. The next floor was a few personalized rooms, each made for a different person behind the map. There was a few references in here to things that literally only they would understand, but mostly just stuff like posters for things they were interested in, mainly bands and musicians. It was pretty cool. I kind of wish there was more, but that was really it for this kind of stuff. Right as I was finishing up my exploration of the building, one of the two duelists left. For some reason, though, the other guy didn't actually leave or fight me or anything. Instead, just kind of walking around aimlessly. There were no more battles to be fought. What now was his purpose in life? I guess he stayed to do some soul searching. I hit up the nightclub, danced for a bit to some Alice DJ, and then yunted on down into the sewers where a Man vs. Machine upgrade station was waiting. This guy scared the shit out of me. One absolutely massive mode that I missed out on covering last time. Like, actually, how did I forget about this? It's incredibly famous. Of course, I'm talking about Cup Chair Ball Remastered. And just as a note, if you play this, be absolutely sure that you're using the remastered version. We don't talk about what happened to the original back in 22. Being one of the iconic modes of TF2, I shouldn't have to explain this one, but I will, since I'm such a cool guy. This mode has two teams going head-to-head, blasting around a physics prop steel chair, trying desperately to dunk it into the opposing team's bottomless pit. I'm actually kind of devastated that no one was in it. I remember back in the day, there used to be at least like 10 to 20 servers running this, all of which were filled up at like all times. You actually used to have to get into a queue for at least, I want to say like 20 to 30 minutes before joining this. Yeah, it'd be funny if any of that was real.
Driver of the vehicle, pull over to the side of the road.
We've got a My Little Pony dance club. Like the MLP one from last time, this is a remnant of a bygone era in TF2. Pony stuff was pretty huge. I wasn't a part of this community at all, but it's still sad seeing that stuff like this has basically faded away entirely. At one point, these were staples of TF2 custom servers. There's even some videos online of this map being completely filled up back in 2012. This version of the map was apparently Safe V2. I can only imagine what the unsafe version is. Unfortunately, there's not much to actually say about the map. It was pretty much just a dance club, which was filled to the brim with various pony PNGs. It also had like 20 different pony-themed songs you could select, different lighting effects, a bar, and not a ton more. It did have an outside area, but that had even less to talk about. That's Leaf. That's Snowflake. Apple. Male. Dog. The back rooms. I found another video of it. This one from 2011, which was a sort of cinematic look, or like a trailer of the map by a few people, one of which had this incredibly eerie and disturbing engineer skin on it. Absolutely terrifying. This video came out before stuff like the Conga was released, so for dancing, they just kind of stand on the dance floor and do basic taunts. It is incredibly awkward. I'm sure this map hosted many nights of extravagant parties and social hangouts, which will never, ever happen again. You would be lucky to even find a server running this map. This one was just called Heavy Warehouse, and loading into it, it just looked to be a warehouse-themed deathmatch map. I was going to instantly leave this one, but I decided to at least give it a brief look to see if I was missing anything. What I found was a very dark and mysterious town outside of the warehouse. It had cars zipping by every minute or two, and a handful of completely empty buildings. Aside from animationless, blank-eyed TF2 mercs working as cashiers. Very weird. I was in a Team Fortress 2 ghost town, with the echoes of my footsteps being my only company. This place is hiding a deeper secret. I can feel it in my bones. There are a strange amount of stupidly elaborate achievement idle servers. The sole purpose of these is to leave TF2 running in the background while you collect item drops. I don't get it. This one here was a Helm's Deep themed idle map, being pretty much a one-to-one recreation with some TF2 theming. A free-to-play engineer was in here when I joined, who I think literally just installed the game. So this was probably one of their first experiences with
Let's go. Terrorist win. Let's go. Terrorist win.
to roll.